your man, Louie T. Welcome to Saturday Night Football Overtime. NFC West family business. You know how the family do it, or do you? Maybe you don't. Maybe you do. Niners, Cardinals. This was a bit of a surprise. I'm not going to lie, especially after watching the 49ers the last 2 weeks with not a lot at stake. Obviously, their season has not gone the way that they would have liked it to with all the injuries. This team has been decimated. And C.J. Beathard, or as I like to say, C.J. Beathard, getting the start, didn't look very promising. But I've always said, if the 49ers ever get into a spot where they just need to play competent football, not turn it over, C.J. Beathard is much more apt for that task than their last quarterback, Nick Mullins, who I think is the perfect backup because he's going to come in and he's going to sling it around. But with that comes mistakes. If you know you need to score points and you're going to throw caution to the wind, Nick Mullins is your guy. But the last 2 weeks against Dallas and Washington, you had opportunities to play against teams that were struggling offensively. And if you just took care of the football, you would have had a chance to win. And so to me, the guy that would have gotten you either a victory or given you a better shot would have been C.J. Beathard. So to see him get this start and to see the outcome, I would be lying if I told you I was super surprised. Once again, it is family business. And these family members know each other very well. And so while on one hand, I'm like, I can't believe Arizona, who had a shot to really put themselves in the driver's seat for that seventh and final wild card spot in the NFC, blew it. But on the other hand, I'm saying, I'm not that surprised. It's NFC West family business. And the 49ers aren't a bad team. And I've said this, they're one of the best coached teams in the league. Kyle Shanahan, say what you want about Kyle Shanahan. And I know there are people out there that aren't huge fans of his, and that's fine. The guy's a hell of a coach. He gets it. He knows offensive football. He's a good motivator. And, you know, he's got a really good staff, including Robert Saleh, who's probably going to become a head coach this offseason. And so we continue to see that infectious energy from Saleh on the sidelines. It was there again today. This defense, who was down a bunch of guys and lost a couple more throughout the course of the game, came to play, made stop after stop, big play after big play, including forcing a fumble of tight end Dan Arnold, including picking off Kyler Murray as the team was looking to go in and potentially tie the football game late by a kilo Witherspoon. This is a team that just continues to overcome injuries, mistakes, things of that nature, and just play hard every single week. It doesn't always work out for them, like last week against Dallas where they gave up a boatload of points. But this is a team that comes with their hard hat and their lunch pail, and they are going to give it maximum effort. And I've always said this, whatever you think about their offense, whomever's missing, whoever's at quarterback, doesn't matter. They're going to run the football. That's what they did today. Massive game for Jeff Wilson Jr., over 150 yards in his football game. They had no answers for him. As a matter of fact, he rushed for 183 yards, to be exact, okay, on just 22 carries. So he was a problem. He caught the first touchdown of the game and ran it in. That's one thing Kyle has always been able to do, is identify backs that fit their system. I mean, who the hell is Jeff Wilson anyway? For most of you, you have no clue who Jeff Wilson is. But this is a guy that's been on their roster a couple of years now, and because of injuries, he's gotten a couple of opportunities. He was awesome against the Patriots earlier this year. He got injured in that game. He was awesome again tonight. It really doesn't matter who's in. You know, they're going to run the football, and they ran the hell out of it tonight. Beathard was very complimentary. He didn't turn it over. When opportunities presented itself, he made plays. 3 touchdown tosses for C.J. Beathard in this football game. He was really good at managing the game. Don't turn it over. Don't make that back-breaking mistake that you count on a 5-9 team to do in this situation. You count on them to make that mistake that's going to be soul-crushing. And they just didn't in this game. And really all the mistakes were made by Arizona, which is probably the most disappointing part, that a lot of what happened in this game was self-inflicted by the Arizona Cardinals. And they're a young team, And these are the growing pains that you go through when you're a young team and you're trying to figure out ways to win in this league. And they've got injuries themselves due to the Arizona Cardinals, but no excuse for this. Got to find a way to win this game. And what's so ironic is all the games that San Francisco has played in Arizona as home games, they weren't able to win any of them. But when they're finally in Arizona yet again, this time as the road team, they finally get a win. Isn't that crazy? They played Buffalo as a home team. They played Washington there as a home team. And they didn't win either one of those games. They go back to Arizona again, this time for a road game against the Arizona Cardinals, and they get the win this time around. So it's a testament to Kyle Shanahan that this team is still playing hard and coming into this game at 5-9. Now they're 6-9 with the 20-12 victory. But the fact that George Kittle even decided that it was a good idea to come back just goes to show you where their mindset is and their mental situation as they head into the final week of the season. Now, most teams, it just doesn't make sense to bring back one of your star players. At this point of the season, what are we doing here? And, Kyle Shanahan said to the guys that were doing the game, how can I look the other 52 guys in the face and tell them that this guy's healthy, but he's not going to play, but you still have to go out there and play? Really simple. This guy is a Pro Bowler type All-Pro kind of player, and you're not. So you're going to keep playing, and he's going to be ready for next year. You got any questions? You got any concerns? Let me know. And if you don't have, and if there is a problem, we can go ahead and find you work somewhere else. So honestly, I don't give a shit what the other guys in the locker room think when it comes to a situation like this. I'm doing what's in the best interest of the organization, and what's in the best interest of the organization is to have my star player not injure himself or re-aggravate something in a meaningless week 16 or 17 game, but rather have him ready for mini camp and training camp and all of that good jazz come next season. Now, it's football, and anything could happen. He could get injured in the offseason working out. Anything could happen, But I love the message, but I myself wouldn't subscribe to it. The same thing in Carolina with Christian McCaffrey, who I think is a lot closer to playing than is being led on by the Panthers organization. Doesn't matter if he was healthy or not. I don't want Christian McCaffrey playing in week 16 or 17 and we're 4-10. Just doesn't make any sense. When I know how much we rely on him and how good of a football player he is, he's too valuable to this organization to be wasting him in meaningless games at the end of a season, and anything could transpire. But Kittle was fantastic in this game, made some big catches, some big plays, and we know he's also a force in the run game as a blocker. It's not a coincidence that Kittle comes back into the lineup and they rush for over 200 yards in this football game. That's not an accident. So George Kittle is a force in this league, and he came back, and it's like he was never gone. Even though they had him on a pitch count, when he was in the game, he was impactful. And so the 49ers, man, I'm just going to tell you the honest-to-God truth. I was shocked. I didn't think they were going to win this football game. After watching them last week against Dallas and how they couldn't get out of their own way, and again, that was with Nick Mullins. And I've always said, Nick Mullins giveth, Nick Mullins taketh away. C.J. Beathard is a little bit more of a calming influence. You're not going to get as much flash and pizzazz with C.J. Beathard, but you're also going to get a steady, calm hand out there, and that's exactly what he was in this football game. It's good enough to get you by when the other team only scores 12, but if you needed to rev this thing up and score 30, that's when C.J. Beathard comes to bite you in your ass, because he's not really that guy that's going to score 30 for you. But 20 points on the road against Arizona, he can do that. He did that, and fortunately enough for San Francisco, the defense made that 20 points stick as they get the win 20-12 in a massive upset. I mean, this team in San Francisco isn't playing for anything other than pride. I had somebody say to me, at the end of a season, when you're out of it, but you've got championship medal, this is when it's tested. Okay? Because most teams are packing it in. Guys are trying to figure out, how am I getting all of my cars home? Where am I going on vacation? Guys are thinking about things that have nothing to do with football. How good is this rest going to be after this season's done and I don't have to worry about practice anymore? They're thinking about all kinds of things. outside of what they should be thinking about, which is these last 2 games of the season. And here you are in this football game, 49ers, who were in the Super Bowl a year ago, decimated by injuries. This guy's hurting, that guy's hurting, this guy's hurting, this guy and that guy. And the list goes on and on and on. And here they are at the end of the season, still fighting, scratching, clawing. And they get a big win. This is a massive win, you know. For the Cardinals, I can't even begin to explain or describe just how debilitating of a loss this really was. And I just thought this was a game where it just seemed like they lacked energy. They lacked crispness. I thought there was a lack of focus at times. Dan Arnold had a big drop down the field. You know, I just felt like there were too many. It's almost if, and I don't really like, you know, saying this because I know this isn't true, but it's almost as if they just knew they were going to win this game somehow. And so they were willing to take more risks in this game. Not to say that Cliff Kingsbury hasn't been taking risks all season, because he has. And he's a natural risk taker. However, they went for it on 4th down numerous times in this game. They got a few of them, but then they didn't get one late in the ball game. You know, and just some of the times that they rolled the dice, you're saying to yourself, I don't know about that. I don't know if I would have done that. You know, Kyler Murray, I talked about him being contact averse and not wanting to get hit. And nobody wants to get hit. So let me clarify that statement. Nobody's looking to get hit. But playing football, there's an understanding that you are going to take some shots. And you have to brace yourself. Kyler Murray's not looking to do that. And on that interception, which was just, and this is the 2nd week in a row. And, you know, one thing as a quarterback, if you want to take that next step, you want to get into that elite realm, there is no more important time to take care of the football than when you get in the red zone. Because at worst, you should be coming away with a scoring opportunity. Now, there's no guarantee, as the 49ers found out in this game, that your kicker is going to deposit those points and put them on the scoreboard. However, at least you want to do your part to put your team in a position to where they can try to add to your score. And so Kyler Murray in the last 2 weeks have had 2 of the most egregious interceptions you will see in the end zone. And luckily enough, it didn't come back to bite them last week against Philadelphia. This week, it did come back to haunt them against San Francisco. And it's just one of those situations where he thinks contact is coming. He throws kind of this no-look pass. I'm just going to throw it up for grabs instead of putting his full weight into the throw. Last week, it was a clean pocket. I think he kind of made a mistake. He saw it late, and then, you know, he kind of tried to ease up on it. But there was nobody home but the Eagles defender last week. This week, I think there was a little bit of contact. Imminent, maybe. I can't even confirm that. I just know it was another one of those no look, I'm going to just throw it up. But it's crazy because you'll get one of those throws where it's picked off by Ahkello Witherspoon in the end zone, and you're saying, Kyler, what the hell was that? And then on the very first possession offensively for Arizona in this game, he does another one of those no-look passes where he's about to get lambasted in the pocket. And so he throws it up and does the Eli Manning no-look, I'm getting down, don't hit me. And he throws the absolute perfect football to Christian Kirk down the right sideline. And I'm saying you can't run up and hand it to him any better than that, partner. So, you know, he giveth, he taketh away. I just know that this game was just uneven for Arizona. They weren't sharp on 3rd downs. They weren't executing offensively. And I really thought that the injury to Chase Chase Edmonds was massive in this game because he does so many things for them on 3rd downs. He's a really good pass catcher out of the backfield. When they like to run those draws and screens and things, he's the perfect guy for that. And he got injured early, and the offense, I'm not saying it took a nosedive once he left because they weren't doing anything when he was in there, but Chase Edmonds is a difference maker for the Cardinals. And he got hurt early, and the offense, I don't know if they ever fully recovered from that injury. And I just thought it was one of those lackadaisical efforts that you get from a team that's young in year 2 of a coach that's making his first rounds in the league, and a quarterback that's only in his second year, and a team that's still trying to mesh and gel together, you're seeing the byproduct of a young team still trying to figure it out. And I'm not quite sure if they're ready for the postseason or not. Like, these are the types of games where you ask yourself, how ready is Arizona for the playoffs anyway? You know, I asked myself that same question after the New England loss. You know, they bounce back. They go to New York. They beat the Giants. They beat the Eagles last week. And I'm saying to myself, this team is good enough to get into the postseason and scare the hell out of somebody. I don't know if they're ready to beat anybody, but they're good enough to scare the hell out of somebody. I'm not sure if they're ready to even go and scare the hell out of somebody. I'm really not. Maybe Chicago with that defense is a little bit more capable right now, and they're a veteran group that they're more capable of getting in the postseason and doing some damage. You know, what was also crazy is that yesterday I joked about, you know, Minnesota having an outside shot had they beaten the Saints. They really were eliminated last week when they lost to Chicago. But I say, well, you never know. You know, the Cardinals could lose to San Francisco. That's highly unlikely. And then they could lose in Week 17 to the Rams. And all you need is the Bears to lose once. Whether they lose to Jacksonville or lose to Green Bay doesn't make you any bit of difference. You just need them to lose once, and then boom, you're in. But I'm like, the Cardinals aren't losing to San Francisco, so that's a non-starter for me. Well, the Cardinals just lost to San Francisco, but doesn't matter. The Vikings didn't take care of business anyhow. And so now, if you're Arizona, you've put yourself in a position because of a lack of execution, like missed opportunities in this game galore for Arizona. And the 49ers give you every opportunity. They missed 2 field goals and an extra point. And so they gave you every opportunity in the world to win this game, and you simply did not execute. Even down to the 2-point conversion, which looked hideous. It was a bad throw from Kyler Murray. This team didn't execute in clutch situations in this football game. And, you know, if not for the mistakes of the 49ers with the missed kicks, this game isn't even close, and you don't even have a shot late. And you shouldn't have had a shot late. I was just so disappointed in the offensive performance because the defense wasn't terrible. They weren't great, but they weren't terrible. You know, you put them in some tough spots with a fumble, deep already in Cardinals territory, and the defense came on the field and forced a punt. I thought the defense gave you every opportunity to put up 24 or 27 and win this game, and you just ran up to the challenge offensively in this football game. And then to make matters worse, Kyler Murray gets injured on the last play of the game. Don't know the severity of it. Had a tough time getting up, getting off the field. Seemed to be in a little bit of pain after the game on the sidelines. I don't know if it was more of his ego being hurt or was his knee legitimately hurt. Just know that this is a tough loss, and I think he understood that. You know, this is one of those ones you needed to try to find a way to win, and they didn't get it done. And so now, if the Bears win against Jacksonville, which we think is going to take place, but you can never know. You can never say in this league because we just don't know. Who saw the Rams losing last week to the Jets or the Bengals beating the Steelers? We just don't know in this league. But if the Bears take care of business, they would leapfrog this Cardinals football team for the last and final playoff spot in the NFC. And at that point, if the Packers, who conceivably could not need Week 17's game, because remember, they already beat New Orleans. And so if they beat Tennessee, you all of a sudden, if you're a Cardinals fan, are a massive Tennessee Titans fan right now, because you need Green Bay to need that Week 17 matchup against Chicago, or else they're going to be in a position where they don't necessarily have to play Rodgers for a full game. He might get a quarter worth of work, and they might get him out of there, and then you're looking at the backup quarterback for the remainder of the game, and they're going to pull a lot of Devontae Adams and a lot of those guys that are big-time playmakers for them. They're going to pull the plug on those guys and start resting them in Week 17 if they don't have anything to play for, which if they beat Tennessee, they'll have the number 1 seed in the NFC locked up. They already own the tiebreaker over New Orleans, so you need Tennessee to beat Green Bay so that they need Week 17 to hold on to the number 1 seed, thus having to play their guys, which gives you an opportunity whether you win or, well, which gives you an opportunity to recapture the 7th seed, because if you lose and they already have a win against Jacksonville, whether they win or lose next week, they're in. So you've got to find a way, if you're Arizona right now, to win next week against the Rams, and that's no easy ask right now. It's a very tall order, as a matter of fact. And they could be playing for the division next week themselves. It'll be interesting to see what they have happen. If they win against Seattle, they're playing for the division in Week 17. They're going to need that game to remain atop that division. So many different outcomes, but you really, really dropped the ball by not getting this one. You needed to find a way to win this one. It would have given you so much breathing room heading into next week's game. It would have been a win over an NFC opponent. Just so many things that you could have set yourself up for had you won this game. Instead, you lose, and now you're kind of at the mercy of Jacksonville and then Green Bay the week thereafter. You're going to need some help. It's no worse feeling in this league as a team that had everything they wanted in the palm of their hand and then lost it, and now they're asking for help. No more helpless feeling at the end of an NFL season than that. And that's where you find yourself. Now, the Bears could piss it away this Sunday against Jacksonville, and you can get right back on top and control the outcome of your season. But more likely than not, they're playing with the most confidence I've seen them play with all season offensively. We know this defense is good. More likely than not, they're going to smother Jacksonville, and they're going to have a shot in Week 17 to beat Green Bay, who probably will be playing for nothing. Nothing will be at stake. And at that point, you're going to find yourself in a bit of a conundrum there if you're the Arizona Cardinals. That's why this one was so big. It's a tough loss. It really, really is. And honestly, I put a lot of this on the offense. You needed the offense to step up, and all they could muster for you was 12 points. 12 points. They turned it over twice. This wasn't a good day offensively. They failed on 1 4th down in this game. Failed on 2, actually, if you count the one at the very end of the game. But this wasn't a great performance offensively by the Cardinals. And they've had some of these stinkers this season, like against the Patriots, like they did against the Carolina Panthers. They've had some of these stinkers this year where you go, what the hell was that? They've had some of these, but that's a good 49ers defense too. And they know you very well, but no excuses. Got to find a way to win this game, and you didn't. So now you're in trouble if you're Arizona. Big, big, big trouble. But you're not out of it. All you can do is control what you can control, which is beating the Rams in Week 17, which will give you a shot. And more likely than not, we'll see what the NFL does with the scheduling and if they move these games around to make them meaningful. Because, again, if Chicago wins against Green Bay next week, you're done. So I surmise that they would put those two games in the same window, meaning they'll probably push that Chicago-Green Bay game back to the 4 o'clock window to match your game so that you don't know the outcome and all you can do is go out and play. Because if Green Bay were to lose to Chicago next week, assuming that Chicago beats Jacksonville this week, and they win at the 1 o'clock game, then your game becomes meaningless for you, and all of a sudden that alters the way you maybe go into the game. You may be deflated at that point, and the Rams may still need the game. They want everybody. The league's not going to allow for a competitive advantage. So that game's going to probably get pushed back to 4:05 or something like that, so that you guys are playing at the same time. But in any event, you're going to need some help now. More likely than not, you're going to need some help. And coming into the day, that wasn't the case. Big upset. As the 49ers take care of business. 20-12 over the Arizona Cardinals in Arizona. For the first time in a month, they were actually on the road in Arizona, where the 49ers, and coincidentally enough, it was their only win in Arizona over that stretch. So big win for the 49ers. They're continuing to fight hard for Kyle Shanahan despite the record and all the injuries. Meanwhile, for the Cardinals, they've been inconsistent all year long. You know what inconsistent usually is? 8-8. It seems like that's where they're heading right now. And I said that this team was just 1 year shy of ready for postseason play before the season started. I think I said they were going to be a 9-7 team, but just miss out on the postseason. That's still in play as well. So I said Chicago before the season started was going to be a playoff team. They've got a shot to be a playoff team. I said Arizona was going to just miss out on the postseason because they're a young team and they're still trying to figure some things out. Here they are, young team, still trying to figure some things out, and they may be on the outside looking in. They had a shot, but they didn't play well enough on the offensive side of the football to get it done in this football game. And so they find themselves at now 8-7 and needing a little bit of help to get in to the postseason. That's going to do it for me, your man, Louie T. I thank you guys for joining me. Hit that sub button if you haven't already done so. Turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And also, hit that like button if you haven't already done that as well, too. I really appreciate you guys. Look forward to chopping it up with you guys tonight live. We will be live after Dolphins, Raiders, and we'll talk about all these games. If you're available, look forward to chopping it up with you later on tonight. We'll talk about all these games and then have a sneak peek at some of those games on Sunday coming up as well. Look forward to talking to you guys after what is a massive game in the AFC. Raiders aren't dead yet. They're on life support, though. Dolphins are thriving. Can they go to Vegas and come away with the win? We'll watch it together and find out. Until then, you guys, take care. Have a good one. See you a little bit later on, hopefully, for Saturday Night Football Overtime.
LouieTeeNetwork.